Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with extra history. I know, been a while, but this one actually got my attention. We're going over to the, European history with the Thule Society, or Nazi Occultism. Yeah, I mean, we always thought it was like just a, movie thing from Indiana Jones, but apparently there was such a thing for Nazis back then. I guess Hitler was more of a paranoid guy than I thought. So let's learn more about this society. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go.
The extra historians. We finally meet. You know, I am a historian as well. I have read books. I am an academic.
America
I have
and
studied the
Indiana
sciences
Jones?
of
Okay.
parapsychology, astrology, and Ariosophy. So, colleagues, I must ask you, why would you disrupt my legitimate archaeological work? Are you afraid we will prove the truth we already know in Nazi high command? That millions of years ago, ice moons crashed into the earth, seeding it with divine alien sperma that became the human race, and in the great Hyperborean age, Aryans were supermen like Siegfried who settled the world, creating writing and agriculture,
God.
founding Greece, Rome, and Buddhism. You know, Buddha
Yeah, I
was
can
an
imagine
idiot,
this
and
happening.
their
Anyone
reign
else?
only ended when their homeland of Thule was wiped out by another ice moon, creating the myth of Atlantis!
What?
Admit it. You're afraid I'm right, aren't you? Aren't you? Stop laughing. Stop it. We really believe this Scheiße.
Yeah, it does sound like something you laugh at. What? I mean, it sounds ridiculous.
Thanks so much to Wraithmarked Creative for supporting today's historical tale. And after the episode, please go check out their Kickstarter for Travis Baldry's deluxe edition of the fantastic novel, Bookshops and Bone Dust. Chances are you've probably heard at one time or another that Nazis were obsessed with the occult. Actually, thanks to Indiana Jones, Captain America, and Hellboy, the idea that Nazis pursued mystical artifacts might actually be the first thing you learned about them as a child. And later, you also probably chuckled away that idea as nonsense, right? Maybe not invented by movies, but definitely played up for effect. Maybe Himmler and other weirdos toyed around with dowsing or artifact collecting, but it's really a footnote in our understanding of the Nazi state. Academic historians often did the same, partially because those working on these issues frequently approached the topic from a conspiratorial angle, inflamed by sensationalist TV documentaries, but also because it was just hard to get sources. Many German academics who participated in Nazi-sponsored archaeological digs were still active in the post-war period, and none too interested in discussing who'd funded their research back in the 1930s. However,
Yeah, let's be real. If you learned that your fund was basically funded by a real bad hate group, yeah, you probably keep quiet too. Plus, even if you did kind of just say, hey, the Nazis, sponsor this, they probably just goodbye credibility, I'm just saying, I don't think anyone wants to learn that much. Thank you very much. But still, I don't think it's fanatical as what we saw in the opening, but I mean, I don't know how deep it goes, because again, we don't have its sources, so anyway.
in the last couple of decades, historians are beginning to revisit Nazi interest in the supernatural and pseudoscience, tracking how it underpinned the ideology of the movement itself and was used to bolster Germany's territorial claims. Some recent book, like Eric Kurlander's Hitler's Monsters, very helpful for this series, actually argue that much of the Nazi ideology can be seen in a framework of supernatural belief.
Really?
And the picture that emerges is less one of the SS doing weird rituals in castles, and more about how Nazi ideology is awash in supernatural ideas, pseudoscience, and conspiracy theories. Which is
Well, they
actually
were
why
practicing
we wanted to do
eugenics,
this
so that
series,
makes sense.
Because, well, we're also currently in the midst of a world awash in disinformation and fringe beliefs that are used to justify political policy. And while it
Ain't
is
wrong
fun
there.
to clown on the absurdities that Nazi leadership figures believed, we also shouldn't lose sight about how these beliefs help cause incredible harm to millions. Just because an idea
and
is ridiculous
if we're not careful,
doesn't mean
it could
it's
come
not
back.
dangerous.
You know?
But that story
I'm just
actually
saying.
begins long before the establishment of the Third Reich, when Germany was forming as a country. The later 19th century was a rough time for establishment religion. Attendance at mainline
True.
churches and synagogues declined in the face of capitalism, social change, and advancing technology. Yet, despite this disillusionment with organized religion, the yearning for spiritual fulfillment and social connection continued. Across Europe and
Well, again, changing times. I mean, I don't think any of us could claim we're like that religious. But back then, like before all this, they were pretty religious. But The new ideas, the church was pretty much struggling to gain a foothold, if you think about it, you know? I mean, back in the Dark Ages, people were obsessed with the church. They had a lot of power. But with new free flowing ideas, goodbye. Anyway.
North America, people began gravitating towards esoteric new religions like spiritualism, forms of paganism, theosophy, or Eastern traditions like Buddhism, joining movements that promised a spiritual truth outside traditional channels. Technology both drove and underpinned this questing, as inventions such as the telephone, the airplane, and vaccines hinted at a future where people achieved the previously impossible. Simultaneously, geologists and archaeologists made discoveries about the deep past that not only proved the Earth was vastly older than believed, but uncovered civilizations previously only mentioned in ancient stories. The whole concept of prehistory was founded with the understanding that primordial humans had lived in caves, hunted, and competed with
evolution,
other forms
everybody.
of ancient man, like Neanderthals.
The church hates.
So in this environment, it's understandable that across the world, it appeared possible that an incredible ancient discovery, such as Atlantis, might occur, or that technology would one day prove a fringe belief like clairvoyance to be measurable and true. Simultaneously, early genetics research and misapplication of Darwin's theories spawned a highly destructive eugenics movement in several nations, including the United States. And these forces were also acting on Germany, though taking on a slightly different character because the country had only recently unified and was in the process of forming its national identity during this era. While seeking to create a culture that was quintessentially German, writers, artists, and intellectuals turned to folktales such as that of the mythic hero Siegfried, legends of Charlemagne, or tales of monstrous creatures. The poems of Goethe, full of fairies, vampires, and the devil, were adopted as part of the national canon, and Wagner's Ring Cycle reignited interest in old stories of dwarves and dragons. In these tales, the German protagonists were mythic supermen and pure-hearted women who defeated demons and monsters, as well as scheming medieval caricatures of Jewish people. After all, repression of Jewish communities was nothing new in the lands now called Germany. Some retellings even cast supernatural creatures like werewolves and witches as heroic figures, defending German soil, which later led multiple Nazi units to adopt the nickname werewolves. This attempted cultural fusion of Christianity with pagan traditions was a massive success, but also baked the supernatural and anti-Semitism into German culture. Meanwhile, German school curriculums attempted to instill a sense of epic history into students, telling the great tales of the German race in ages past. At the same time...
Yeah, but you gotta be careful with that. Like, if you mix the truth with some beliefs, you know there are gonna be some wild ideas out there. Just saying. Also, wasn't there like a sonata, like, I don't know, there was like a story of a sonata that apparently would summon the devil or something. I don't remember the story. I think it was like, they wrote it and the only time it played summoned a devil, I think. I don't know, I'm thinking like Shakespeare's play or something that actually sort of summoned the devil, or at least a witch, I don't know, I don't know, there was like some like forbidden sonata people claim was real, but I don't know. I'll have to look that up, but I feel like I've heard that somewhere, but I don't know why. If you guys know, let me know, but anywho.
A popular movement known as folkish nationalism started to spread, which imagined a kind of ideal German as a racially pure peasant who had spiritual connections to the land. Esoteric writers began to speculate that blood had magic qualities and that pure-blooded Aryans would have spiritual and psychic powers should they not dilute their blood by marrying outside their ethnicity. Paradoxically, these movements were also fascinated with Eastern mysticism and plundered Buddhism and Hinduism for ideas, while claiming mutual descent. Soon, folkish secret societies, based on the Freemasons, were springing up around Germany, including one breakaway founded in the wake of World War I, the Thule Society, which played a small role in what would become Nazism. Named after Thule, a far northern island mentioned in an ancient Greek account, the Thulers were an odd bunch. Membership required genealogical proof that applicants had no Jewish ancestors, which gained them admittance to what was essentially a discussion group on racial nationalism and right-wing politics. And its founder, the occultist, astrologer, and one-time Muslim convert, Rudolf von Zabatendorf, borrowed a symbol from Eastern religion for his new group, the swastika. One popular idea within the society was that of world ice theory, a pseudoscientific theory that the universe had been created by massive collisions between cosmic bodies of fire and ice, and bombardments by ice moons had shaped Earth's history. According to this belief, ancient humans had not only arrived on Earth via one of these comets, but these ancient Aryans had spread out in a mythic golden age of civilization before Thule was again destroyed by an ice moon, handily explaining why the supposed Germanic master race were living in caves and mud huts while the Mesopotamians developed writing and the Romans built an empire. Soon, they claimed archaeologists would look closer at major archaeological sites around the world and find traces of ancient Aryans in places as far as Egypt, Babylon, and the Incan ruins of Tiahuanaca.
Let me guess.
These ideas dovetailed well with ideas already expressed by the German-Russian theosophist Madame Blavatsky, who'd proposed a similar idea to explain why Germans were, in fact, the descendants of Atlantis. A further offshoot of
just gotta wonder what's going on with these guys,
which focused on mysticism involving Aryans and would influence Nazi radical thought, was patronized by Thule. But the Thule Society was not just a band of eclectic weirdos. They were also active on the German far right. In 1919, when left-wing socialists took over Munich and declared a republic, the Thule Society plotted to kidnap the leader of the new republic and sent agents to infiltrate the military. The socialists got wise and raided Thule offices, executing several Thulers and prompting the group to help whip up the right-wing militias that retook the city. Yet the Thule Society was not viable as a political party, especially after its antics in Munich had made it open to public scrutiny. It was too elitist, too aristocratic. So it branched out, with several ex-members founding the German Workers' Party, or DAP, an extreme right political organization consisting of disaffected World War I veterans with ethnic nationalist beliefs, deep-rooted anti-Semitism, and a working-class background. Its founder was, of course, a semi-professional astrologer. Later, the Thule Society would purchase a newspaper for the party's use and bankroll its publication. Still, it was a small, obscure, badly run party, and it might have stayed that way. Except that in 1919, an enlisted soldier showed up at one of its meetings. The soldier was a decorated veteran, retained as a liaison with civilian organizations, who was occasionally sent to political meetings to see if they were secretly communist. His name was Adolf Hitler, a committed atheist, and he thought that this ridiculous German Workers' Party could be so much more. But pop quiz, hotshot, how—
Yeah, you know the story. It takes over and, well, you know the drill. I feel like we'll learn more about the cult side of Nazis, but dang. And that's the start. Let me know what you guys think, and until next time, laters.